Hey everybody, it's Gail, and this is episode 12 of Errata-Hate. I'm very excited about this episode today because I get to show you how I make one of my staples. In this case, it's a pencil skirt. I make them every few months. I have a lot of them. It might be a problem. And I originally started making pencil skirts off of a pattern by Josie Hen and Madeira, who I've mentioned before. I reviewed one of her patterns, actually. Um, and I really liked it because it was when I was first starting to learn sort of how to build to my measurements. And she actually wrote her patterns as more or less equations where you would plug in your measurements and your stitches per inch. And then you could, from there, get a pattern that was measured especially to you. And so I'm actually going to link that pattern down in the basement because it was a big inspiration for how I do my skirts now, and I think it's important to give credit where credit is due. But to make this skirt, you're going to need your trusty H-hook. You are going to need a couple of skeins of a yarn. I like Caron Simply Soft for my skirts because I wear my skirts a lot, and the acrylic makes them super washable. And it's also affordable where the cottons that I like, I can't get this much for the same price. So, you know, cost analysis. And so I usually go through 2 skeins of Caron Simply Soft when I'm making skirts. And of course, you know, it all depends on how your body is shaped over how much yarn you're going to need. But, so yarn, hook, and you will need some cord elastic. This is just bead cord elastic. You can get it at any craft store. It's about $1. And I'm using white this time because I'm using a lighter color yarn, and so the white will blend in pretty nicely when I work it into the waistband. And I will be showing you how I do that. So the first thing you got to do is figure out where your skirt is gonna sit. And I always put my skirts at my natural waist because I like my skirts there. And so with the elastic, I have one piece here that's cut to length, and let me just show you that really quick. So, woo! Enjoy my tattoo. So the elastic, what you're gonna do is bring it around your waist, and you kind of want the ends to touch, just barely. And then you'll cut them off just as they touch. And then what you're gonna do to get it ready to use is just tie a knot in the ends. So we're just gonna, super quick, make a small knot, and that'll keep it secure. There we go. And the idea is that when you do work this in, you'll be able to tell where your round ends, and then also you're gonna have a little bit of pressure on the elastic, like you do when you usually have an elastic waistband. And so you actually need 2 of these. So I just did that one, and you just measure again, you cut again, and you know, you knot again, and then you'll have the 2 pieces of elastic you need. And then the next thing you're gonna do, and this is very, very unscientific, is you are going to make a chain that wraps around that same part of your body that you just wrapped the elastic. So let me show you this as well. And this chain can be any number of chains. We don't need odd or even chains. It's just whatever fits around where you want your pencil skirt to go. And so I actually dropped a couple of loops while I was doing this. But you want them, again, to just kind of barely touch. You know, you want a snug fit. You want a good, solid fit there as a waistband. And, you know, that's really up to you to decide what that feels like. You know what's most comfortable on you, and so that's what you want to aim for. And so what I'm going to do now, sitting on my project, is I'm going to go and I'm going to work the first 2 rows of this as rows. I will join before adding the elastic, but the twisting problem I have with flat elastic, which is why I use cord elastic, I also have when I'm working in the round, and so I've started just doing the first couple of rows as rows and then turning it into a round once I can actually tell which side is which. So I'll be back in a bit to show you how to add that elastic, and we'll go from there. Hey everybody, it's Gail. I'm back. I have finished the first 2 rows of my waistband. I've got my first bit of elastic right here. Remember I said you need 2 pieces. I'll get to the second piece later. And so the first thing I need to do is take this strip and turn it into a round. So I've chained 1 and I'm coming in. First thing I'm going to do is run my finger down to make sure this is actually all facing the same direction. It is. And now I'm going to work a slip stitch through the first and last stitches. I forgot to mention this earlier, but I am working just single crochets for this waistband. I always do, just to kind of get that extra bit of structure. So that's in. So now I'm just going to pull through, if it cannot tangle on me, and now I have a slip stitch. Going to chain 1 again like I'm working a new round, and then the way that this works is I'm going to take the elastic and hold it with my thumb at the starting point, and then I'm going to crochet around it. And this does take a little getting used to. I've done it enough now, I've gotten pretty good at it, but you know, take it slow, be patient with yourself. So there you go, round 1. And you're just going to work those single crochets around the elastic, and that's going to keep it in place and give you a proper waistband that will have some extra support in it. So as you can see, I've got my first few done, and I find it's easiest just to hold it in place with my thumb and work under and around. So I'm going to do that all the way around, and when I come back to the starting stitch, I'm just going to join and turn and do 2 more rows, two rounds, excuse me, in single crochet, and then add that second piece of elastic. And that second piece of elastic is just to continue to help with things staying up correctly. That's really the big thing about it. So I'm going to go get this done, and I will be back shortly just to run you through that second piece so you understand where it goes, and then we'll get into the fun stuff like increases. Hey everybody, I am hiding behind the camera, even though Shauna is the one filming, while I'm working on the second row of elastic here. And just like I was doing with the previous one, I'm just holding it down and stitching around it. If I can get, there we go. But I also wanted to give you a row count that you can use to do this waistband, because I thought it might be useful, which is just over to my right. And so you see it's labeled single crochet rows, and so what you're going to do is work 2 rows of single crochet. You're going to work 1 row of elastic, 1 row around, depending on when you seam, 2 more rows or rounds of regular single crochet, 1 more of elastic, and then you're going to finish with 2 final rows or rounds of single crochet, and after that, the increases will start. And I will be doing the body of the skirt in double crochet. I've done it in a few different stitch patterns, but it's easiest to see in double crochet when I do the increases. So I'm going to get this elastic finished. I'm going to do these other 2 rows, and I will be back to show you how to place increases. Hey everybody! Before I show you how to mark for your stitch increases, I wanted to show you the pattern of those increases. So what you're going to be doing is working 3 double crochets into a single stitch 4 separate times. So this is, I always call it a raglan increase, because that's, I always use it on my raglan sweaters. So, and you make a raglan sweater by doing this kind of increase 4 times in a row. So that's going to be your increase number, and then we're going to do increases, work 3 rows even, another set of increases, work 3 rows even, another set of increases, and then 3 more even. And what this does is it puts the increases about 1 inch apart, so that it can be better fitted over the curve of your body. And I will show you that in just a second, but I gotta flip the camera around. Okay everybody, I've got the waistband of the skirt on, and I centered the join at the back because I want it to be a back seam. And then to figure out my increases, what I've done is I've marked an increase near the, like right where the curve of my butt would start, and then I've also marked an increase up at the front of my thigh. You know, this is going to be your widest part, and so working the increases there gives you a little more movement. And so I actually did this without trying it on first, because I've made a lot of these, so I know that my increase stitches are, this is stitch 20, and this is stitch 40. That's just how it always fits me when I'm doing, working with Karen Simply Soft making these skirts. And now on the other side, I did the same thing, and all I did was start at the join and just count over 20 and count over 40. So once you have one side and you know the numbers, you can just do it from the other side the same way and know where to mark for your stitches. So I'm going to go and do all of the increases at the same time, and you'll be able to see when I'm done that it's going to be a nice fitted look like a good pencil skirt, and after that we get to the really easy part. So I'll see you in a bit. Hey everybody, before I show you the finished increases, I thought I would give you just a quick look at how I stack them when I'm working them. So this bottom line of X's here, those are the single crochets that I was working into, and then these 3 double crochets into that single crochet would be the first increase, and you know, you're just working the other double crochet stitches, and then you're going to work 3 rows like I mentioned, just straight across, no more increases. But then when you increase again, what you're actually going to do is increase on what was originally that middle stitch in that first set of 3 double crochets. So definitely keep your stitch markers going up as you work so you know where you're going, or just keep track of what number stitch you're on. So if this single crochet was stitch number 20, as it was for my first increase, then this double is going to be stitch 21, and so I just counted out to 21 and then to 41 for that other stitch I needed to place, and then came back around and did the same thing on the other side. But now I'm going to go and put on the skirt as is to show you what it looks like once you've got your increases finished. So I'll be back. And we're dressed! So this last increase here and here, and if you remember, that was about where I had the stitch markers positioned. These are a little further out because we've added stitches. And this slight ridge that I have right now from doing those increases will fade because I'm about to just start working straight down to finish this skirt because I've done increases enough. You'll see that there's room back here to fit the rest of my butt, basically. And the thing is, if I push down my skirt a little bit and tug down, I can absolutely confirm that this is going to be the right amount of stitches to get the space I want so that it's fitted, but it's not straining. You know, don't forget to put your ease in. So I did three sets of increases. You might need to do more or less. I do recommend trying on after each increase. Like I said, I've just done them enough that I know what works for me. And don't be afraid to keep adding increases. Don't be afraid to only use a couple increases. You know, whatever's the most comfortable for you with what you're doing, you know, you can have a really cute pencil skirt that fits you well. So I'm going to go do the really boring part, which is just working even until this thing is about knee length, and then I will be back. Hey everybody, it's Gail behind the camera. I thought this was going to be the last part of this, but then I remembered there is one more optional step to making this pencil skirt, and basically is deciding if you want to have a no decrease pencil skirt, which give you just kind of this straight pencil skirt here, or if you wanted to decrease the pencil skirt and sort of get more of that Marilyn Monroe I always think about when I think about sort of the fitted pencil skirt, sort of that wiggle skirt. And so I wanted to show you how to do that decrease in case you wanted to. Now, if you're happy with how it's fallen and you don't want to go back and decrease, totally up to you. So over here is my chart, and this is why I don't hand draw my charts, because this got all weird. But this is an optional decrease, and what you're going to do is you'll be working through your double crochets, and you'll be getting, you'll be decreasing 3 stitches at a time, 3 double crochets at a time with a double crochet in decrease. And you'll be doing that in the same pattern that you did the increases. And so after you do the first one, you're going to work 3 rounds even, do another decrease, and again you're going to try to center it where that last decrease was. Now, to give you an idea, let me get my handy post-it notes here, of where to do this decrease, I'm just going to draw you a quick little diagram. Put that down. Be back in a second. Alright, so this is you. And for the sake of this, your butt's really high for some reason. So what you want to do, you want to start the decreases like right on the edge of your butt. So like sort of that last place where your butt would poke out if you were wearing a swimsuit or maybe a pair of short shorts. You want to start the decreases right there because that's going to be the most comfortable place. You're not going to have to worry that you won't fit over, the wider parts of your bum. And then just like with the increases, which I still have up here, you will want to just try on as you go. Make sure it's comfortable. I'm going to be doing 3 sets because that is just what's comfortable for me, but it's all in how your body's built, and you know your body better than I do. So now I'm really going to go finish it, and I will be back in a few. Hey everybody, this is the final part of the video for real this time. I'm finished. Haven't even cut the yarn yet. And I just wanted to see what it looks like finished. Remember, I did my decreases that I mentioned, so I have a very fitted look in the back here. If you don't do the decreases, it should be fitted to about here and then just hang very nicely. The other thing to consider when you're doing decreases is how much legroom you want. I'm comfortable having a short and stride in this skirt, but you may not be, and so it's not a good idea to do the decreases because you do get more fitted along the bottom part of the leg. But it's finished. I'm very happy. It's adorable. Now, if it would be warm enough to wear it, that would be awesome. So I will see you all for episode 13. Want to remind you that I do have a Patreon, and the address will be at the end of this video, so you can help me buy yarn if you'd like to. And I will see you guys soon.